Hi, my name is Gerhard Gschwandtner and welcome to Selling Power's Daily Report. We're here on Friday with Chris Howard, and this is our last segment of the week, and we are talking about effective presentations. Chris?
Very cool. One of my favorite topics.
How did you learn how to make effective presentations?
Oh, well, I learned every step of the way. I just kept studying people, first off, studying presentations that had been out there before. I was actually working with a politician once, and he says, what's the single thing that I can do to really take my presentations to the next level? I said, find the greatest speeches of all time and practice them as if they were your own. Because you practice those, then the starting level where you're starting at is the highest, the highest rung of the ladder. And then ultimately also learning how to be yourself with people, realizing that group communication, when you say you got 20 people in the room or 2,000 people in the room or 20,000 people in the room, is the same as communicating one-on-one. You're just widening who you're looking at. You're watching for responsiveness in the same way. And that's what allows you to have the deeper level connection with an audience, which is most vital and most important in my opinion.
How many people do you have normally in an audience?
I'll have, we have smaller boutique type audiences where we have 50 people in a room, but typically we'll have between 2,000, 3,000 people in a room.
And you do 9 hours with them?
Oh yeah, 9-hour days. And those seminars typically go about 3 days.
Give me an example. Let's say I would give you a business communicator. Let's say the company has just gone through a merger, and you need to stand in front of the group of 2 teams that really don't know each other, but you want to get everybody's buy-in so that everybody works in the same direction without conflict, without friction.
Right.
I mean, the ideal state. How do you create that? How do you fuse 2 teams together like that?
Well, what's interesting is that the mental side of the game is far more important than the technical side of the game from a speech perspective, because words are just words. What we need to do is make sure that we're set up in our mind for a great result. So part of what I would do is, if I was working with that person as an individual, is I'd help them do some goal setting beforehand where they got really clear on exactly what the outcome was and how they'd know they'd attained that outcome at the end of the presentation. How are we going to know that we've inspired those teams and that we've galvanized them? Is it going to be in some sort of a feedback form that we get after the fact? Is it going to be through some sort of a survey, or is it going to be some action they're going to take right there on the spot? So it's identifying what your evidence procedure is that you've got your outcome and you know that you've got that outcome. Then I would actually do some sports hypnosis or something like that to get that outcome in their future so that the person was expecting it to happen. Because in life we don't get what we want, we get what we expect. Secondly, what I'd have that person do is get clear on the emotional states that they wanted to instill in the audience, or they wanted to pull out of the audience while they were doing the presentation. If it's going to be, what states do they want the audience in? If they want them decisive, if they want them inspired, and they want them committed, and they want them to be persuaded, perhaps. Then you get clear on what those states are. Then I would, prior to having that person go out and do the presentation, I'd have them look for times in the past where they'd actually felt those emotional states, go back to them, sit in the emotion of it, bring the emotions to the present so that just before they go into the presentation, they're feeling the states of being decisive, being committed, being connected with the audience, being on, so it becomes much easier to lead somebody into a state that you're in. That way they're not caught up in, ooh, what do I have to say, or what's on the slides. They're here and they're present with their audience, and they've got a level of connection that's unheard of. And that's all the mental side of the game. The rest of it's much easier. I mean, have a great speech, but a presentation should never be these memorized words and trying to say words. A presentation should be organic. It should be real. You should be connected with people. You need to be able to be free to respond to where people are at, and you can't do that if you're boxed into a script per se, or you got to have an idea of where you're going, but that's it. And then when you're freed from having to run the PowerPoints, it allows you to be much more connected and be where you really need to be with your audience.
How do you manage your energy doing a presentation?
A lot of people have asked me that. For a while, I used to do, in the early days, I did presentations and I'd just be wrecked at the end. And somebody came up to me and they said, the problem is you're using your own energy. They said, you have to kind of let energy flow through you. And it's also about being connected to a larger vision and purpose myself. Why am I doing this thing?
Well, this was a wonderful week with Chris Howard. We have learned a lot, and we hope that you will be able to apply that so you can pursue your dreams with the same passion as Chris Howard has done. If he can do it, you can do it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much, Gerhard.